Bonjour, Sarah Kooperman.
Bonjour.
I love how everybody's like, should I put my pajamas on? And I'm like, how is anybody not already in their
Well,
pajamas in 2020?
the key is, do I have to shower? Okay?
Ah,
Not
never.
about the pajamas. I literally worked out this morning. Yeah. Went grocery shopping.
If anything, the non-showering just gives you that little extra cheek glow when it comes
Oh,
to all of that.
not quite sure about that, but I'll take it.
Oh, so I miss you. I mean, 2019 for me was I don't even know how many of the manias I was able to go to, and I keep getting these Facebook and Instagram memories, and I'm like, oh, that's at Mania, and that's at Mania, and it's been such a long time as per the border between yours and my country has been closed, but I miss you. It's so nice to be able to see you. There's so much going on, and you're doing so much, and SCW is doing so much, but it's nice to actually be able to connect with you in bed when it's not in a hotel bed, because I do spend a lot of time in your hotel room, but it's in bed.
Spent a
And
lot of
so
time in my bed. Yeah, whatever.
thank you. Thank you for coming in today. How are you doing?
Good.
Yeah?
Good. Yeah, honestly, this has been a really rough year. We
Mm,
we were pretty lucky because we started Zooming back in October of 2019,
mm,
before anybody really had done it. We started Zooming our certifications, and my staff, interestingly enough, didn't wanna do it, and I pushed them, and I said, "We gotta try this. This is cool. I love doing something that's new and that's
yeah.
fun." So, we went and we were at Midwest Mania and we filmed, I think it was Abby Apple's bar certification and Jeff Howard Group X.
Yeah.
And we filmed those and it went great. And we were terrified that it would cut the live registrations in half and more people would do it online. And it didn't, it doubled it.
Because you're doing hybrid. There are people in the room. I mean, right
Right.
now, everybody's like, wait, I have to do hybrid again. But from the get-go, you guys jumped in
We
like
did
head
it right away.
first.
And then we
Yeah.
did it in December, and then we did it in again in February because December is typically Boston Mania, and
Yeah.
then February is Washington, DC.
Washington.
And then we added in Kelly Roberts filmed, and then Connie Warasilla Kelly does our personal training cert, and Connie Warasilla does our water and motion program. And we added these people in, and then we had to figure out I'm sitting there going, "March, well, California Mania is canceled.
Mm.
How are we gonna stream this? You know, how are we gonna do this?" And, it was actually Jeff Howard who said, "You know what? I'll set up my iPad and I'll film it out of my home."
Mm.
Because traditionally, we flew in our cinematographer
Mm.
the film. Well, we didn't have a cinematographer, so we just put somebody online, hosted it through Zoom again, and the presenter actually handled their own camera on their
Everything.
and everybody jumped in.
Yeah.
Everybody jumped in.
It
It was
is, I gotta say, it's marvelous to see how, because I mean, there's people that I know in the events industries in other industries, and I spoke to somebody this past week, and she said, "Yeah, everything's pushed to 2022." And I mean, for fitness, I don't know what we would do if everything was just a until we can go live again. It's just too bad, so sad. But I mean, we jumped in and fast, and thanks to some of the incredible leaders in the industry like yourself and everything that SCW did. I mean, is there a week? Is there a day where you guys aren't doing something, a webinar, a training, a certification, an event like every single week consistently? How are you not horizontal all the time? I suppose is my question. How are you guys doing it and maintaining that consistent delivery of services and support?
it's like, heavy sigh. Um, First of all,
Yeah.
personally, I have to say I'm on a roller coaster. I have
Mm,
we just like everybody else. Like I have really great days and I just do not on
mm,
other days. And I wake up in the middle of the night a lot.
yeah.
And I have grown quite fond of wine. But
Grown.
yeah, whatever, and, but it's w all right, first of all, what I have to say is I keep saying people keep talking about pivoting, pivoting,
Mm.
and I thought it was really interesting. I thought, "You know what? We've been in business. SCW has been in business for 35 years. We're entering our 36th year of conferences.
Wow.
36 years. When we start, and I say we, all right, let's just rephrase that. When I started this business, I for one thing, I had absolutely no money. I married a man who was a pile of loans. At least I had a car. I had a '71 yellow Pinto. Remember the ones that used to explode from the rear end? That was yellow, but it had a green door with an A on it because at one point I had opened the door and a car, just sped by and accordionized the door. And so I was waitressing, so I went with one of the fellow waitresses and her husband, and we went to a junkyard, and I got this green junkyard, I don't know, door with an A on it.
With an A on it.
Yeah,
Alright.
but anyway, so starting this business,
Mm,
like, 35 years ago with absolutely nothing,
mm,
and we did a our first convention with boom boxes. There were no computers.
no.
I had an a Panasonic electric computer, which was really state of the art because if I held a button down and clicked a key and went backwards, it would automatically white it out with this little strip of white. So I didn't have to use the white out, the paint.
Mm.
I could do that. So I thought I was really hot stuff. Um, no computers, no World Wide Web, no cell phones, it was all landline.
Mm,
We mailed brochures.
mm,
People had to mail their registrations back to us. There were no credit cards.
no.
No credit cards, okay? Let alone Venmo and PayPal and Square.
Yeah.
We took checks, okay, and cash. Like, what is cash?
Mm,
Um, and for 35 years, every time a new innovation came about, I remember my first fax machine. It was like this wheelie thing that just spewed out. Like over the weekend, we get pages and pages of
yeah.
registration where people were selecting their classes.
Sliding under the desks and the
My God.
tables and
But they faded because it was brown ink. So
yeah.
I had to run to Kinko's and get it duplicated and then put it in these binders and manually check off how many people were in a class so we didn't overcrowd
Mm,
a class. I mean, I remember the first badge. We now have a rule at Mania that I've never quit after 36 years. No liquids on the registration desk.
mm,
Because the night before Midwest Mania one year, 700 registrants all had their name badges, and each class had an individual pass. So all of them had 16 inserts, and then
yeah.
you manually added in
Mm.
the lunch pass. And it was so thick, but we put shoved them all in those badges, and I spilled a cup of coffee
Mm.
over every single one. It just, like, flew across, soaked everything. 16, like, individuals for 700 people, you do the math.
Yeah.
We had to reprint it. I had to I had to find an all-night place that could handle the ink that I had to put into the printer. Oh
Mm.
my god, it the word pivot
Yeah.
is is the way we lived.
Yeah.
Everything was a pivot. Got a cell phone, switch that. Never had text messaging before, never had emails before, never had my God.
So
So,
tell me why you think this one feels so different then.
the one there is one major difference that I feel,
Yeah.
and it's kinda sad, it kinda gets to me. We were in March and in
Mm.
April, we were We were all in this together. Remember the commercials?
Yes.
We
Yes.
were all in this together. I mean, and I had phone calls with friends and I had, trying to figure out how we going to do Mania. We were the first one to launch a conference. We've done 4 conventions. We've trained over, oh my God, we've certified over 3,000 people in these past 9 months. We've
Wow.
trained in the conferences about 3,000 as well. Um, oh my, you know,
Yeah.
we were all in this
In it
together.
together. Yeah.
And now what I'm seeing, which kind of hurts my heart,
Mm,
is I feel like it's every man for himself, every woman
mm,
for herself. It's
mm,
like it's competition. And I will say there are several people out there that I don't feel that with, that I feel like I'm going to use Mo Hagan as an
mm,
example.
mhm.
Okay. We have a conversation at least once a month. We share best practices.
Yeah.
I don't care if our conventions are global and
Mm,
our certifications are global between CanFit and SCW.
mm,
We're always sharing. There's unique people out there in the world that continue to do that. I reach out to people. I'm always watching Fitness Fest with Janice Jakes,
mm.
and I watch I'll go to their webinars. It's really kind of great what she's, putting out, but it's not universal.
It's interesting because I mean, I remember when this happened, it was because I had the pleasure of supporting the gyms in Quebec lobby for reopening here. And for the first time ever, 160 gyms came together. And the lesson from that was that we're so much stronger when we collaborate, and that we need to speak to government, we need to speak to the public, we need to speak to everybody as a unified voice, because the second that it starts to get confusing, they check out. And so I feel like and maybe it's just time, maybe it's just everybody's exhausted, people aren't sleeping well. We're getting,
They're not drinking enough.
they're not drinking enough, or all of that, or eating. You know what I mean? And maybe it's we're giving so much, and it's so much out there that we're not healing. And when you're not healed, and you're in grief, and you're under anxiety, and you're in trauma, and all of that, you see that you see the scarcity instead of seeing everything that's out there,
Exactly.
and that's when you start to pull in.
Exactly. And
Mm,
I never understood. I have a friend, Stacy Lee Krause, and I
yeah.
never understood. She had kind of said, some people come from a place of fear.
Mm,
And I just thought to myself, I don't understand what you mean by that. I
mm,
really just didn't understand what she meant by that.
mm,
Now I understand.
yeah.
People, the scarcity, they're scared of the way the world is turning. How are they going to handle this? How are they going to make it through?
Yeah.
Um, I I also think that I've made it through so much in my life that
Mm,
it doesn't scare me as much.
mm,
I know there's a future. I know we're gonna get through this. And also I will tell you, and I hear people says, "I'm really blessed," and I wanna slap them a little bit. But I
yeah.
feel really blessed that I have an amazing staff
Mm,
that, we've had to switch the way we connect because we can't go into the office.
mhm,
We were always virtual at times.
mm,
So we really do every week we go through and we set a plan. And I
mm,
always feel like if you've got a plan, even if the plan is going to change, but if
yeah.
you got a plan, it gives you it makes you feel like we're going to make it through because we got a plan. I've got
Yeah.
my whole schedule done for 2021
Wow.
through December 31st. We know that in January we're running, it's called, what's it called? Personal Trainer Apex. We're doing our first personal training conference.
Cool.
February we're running our 5th live stream mania.
Mm,
Uh, we're excited. We have 24 sponsors, 24 different companies that are coming together to sponsor.
mm.
What are we doing in March? I have no idea. maybe the
So you've
wine.
got it all set up. With an ability, I mean, I think it's a
Actually,
question. I love that concept of planning. And I
yeah.
feel like, because interestingly enough, Mo and I, speaking of Mo, who I'm speaking to in my pajamas in a couple of hours again. But Mo and I'm like, you know what I feel like is I feel um I can find a place of comfort in the uncertainty of 2021. I know it'll be uncertain, and that's okay. Because I've been at uncertainty for enough months now that I don't need to know exactly what's going to happen in 2021 to feel okay. I know it's okay. If it changes, it's okay. If it changes, it's all right. And I feel like what we do to the point of fear versus our comfort with risk is where you start to see it, where some people are like really not comfortable with risk, and it's like, well, let's try something. Because what's the worst that can happen, you know? But I feel like it's a comfort level that we all find when it comes to that. And having seen, I mean, you and I have talked, and I've heard you speak at so many of the events and the women's leaderships events at SCWs about so we tried it, and girl, it was just, and it's okay, and you're okay with that. So I feel like the more we talk about it did not go well, and it's all right, and the more we talk about what you're just saying, you're like, personally and professionally, there's ups and downs. But we go to the downs, we talk it through, we're like, okay, what's next? And we can try something again. But trying means being really comfortable with whatever it happens, including falling and failing and going like, well, all right, what's next? What do we try again?
Well,
You know?
that's where it is that risk taking, and
Mm,
it's that willingness to fail, and
mm,
an ability just to shove it back. I mean,
yeah.
we tried things. We tried this website. It was called
Mm.
trainwiththetrainers.com. And it was a way that instructors, like
Yeah, I
group
remember.
instructors, could go and teach a class, and we would split the revenue, but we would help them in that we would do the schedule, we could take the money, we would pay it for them so they can do their job of teaching, and we can do the job of, being the business, being
Yeah.
the
Operations.
the operations. Our s- it's it just didn't work.
Mm,
I think a lot of the instructors that were willing to go out there have already tried and figured this out.
mm,
Figured out Zoom, figured out ways to do things. And there's a lot of instructors who haven't, but that's not who they are.
mm. Tell
They
me about the ones a little bit that you're seeing, because I mean, you see thousands of instructors and trainers that, mainly in the US, but all over the world now. Tell me about some of the ones, whether it's the person or what you've seen them do, that you're like, wow, consistently, this has worked for them. Like by now, can you identify some of those, either the skills, the soft skills, the whatever it is, that yeah, these are the ones that are persevering and doing
Yeah,
well?
yeah. One of the things that I felt pretty fortunate about is, um, I feel comfortable in front of a camera because I
Mm,
used to do QVC for 12 years. I was on like every week. So
mm,
I felt comfortable in front of a camera, but I had to learn Zoom. Okay. So individuals that took the time and didn't reject getting used to Zoom, getting used
mm,
to being in and communicating via a camera, I saw those people excel. And one thing that you asked me, you said, what is the about adapting?
mm,
Um, I think uh, finding something new has been very important for me to
hmm,
survive 2020.
hmm.
Like these webinars that we do free webinars like twice a week on every topic imaginable
Yeah.
is my sweet spot. It's just something I absolutely love. I love the panels. I've gotten to know a lot of people much better,
Hmm,
which has been so incredibly rewarding. So the people, if I could tell people do something, figure out how to do Zoom
mm,
and get ready to screw it up, okay? Because right at
yeah.
the beginning, you know, the camera is going to be like up here,
In your
okay?
nostrils.
You're all gonna
Yeah.
be and you're gonna be staring at somebody's nostril, or then it's gonna go here and it's like, "Say hello to my 2 little friends," right? You're gonna mess it up, and
Mm,
you gotta play with it, and you gotta laugh at yourself.
yeah.
Can't take it too seriously, and take up a new hobby. I've taken up 2 new hobbies. I now play pickleball.
Oh, fun.
Yes, and I've realized I am the most competitive person I know. It's frightening, like, I'm vicious
Did you
with
not know that? I feel
oh
like
my
I could have predicted that one. Oh, that's
you
funny.
should see me ski. Why do you think I have 3 knee surgeries? I'm
Yeah.
jumping off moguls, I'm an idiot. Um, but pickleball and I've started cooking because I like taking care of others. That's one of my absolute loves
Nice.
is taking care of others and kind of I don't know, like, we've always called SCW a family. We're not a
Yeah.
okay? I'm Jewish. I know what a tribe is, okay? We're not a tribe, but we're a family. We're an SE. So
Mm,
I think that individuals out there that have been able to embrace something new
mm,
tend to succeed and that venture into an area and like you just talked about being willing to kind of fail. But if
mm.
you laugh at yourself when you fail,
Yeah.
it's endearing and people get to know you better. And
Yeah.
yeah.
And you know what? It's funny the thing with, I think people's definition of failure is very different. Like, and I always like to think about striving towards excellence and not perfection. There are still times where, like today, I taught for a friend of mine who I teach for maybe once every 6 weeks, and it's a whole other website. And I got this fancy pants webcam that, I mean, I had to get my hair colored after getting the webcam because I'm like, this thing's too good. It fancy pants webcam that makes everything look great. And I'm like, I'm going to use that today, and 5 minutes in couldn't get the camera to work, and I'm like, I got to switch it. So literally I got on 87 seconds before the class started, and you're like, and it's yoga, and you're like in terms of coming in, but it's okay. Once you're on, you're on. And if somebody rings the doorbell and the dog barks, and yes, we have all these best practices, and make sure you test things first. And I test everything a gazillion times. And every time I, re-download Zoom, there's something that doesn't work again, and you got to do it over. But if the dog barks, the dog barks. I'm at home, people are at home. I think that the things that we're trying to appear, maybe because it's on camera, versus the thing that humanizes us. And we come from a place of compassion because they're all at home too, and these things happen to them too. And I find it humanizes us versus being this state, for instructors in particular, this stage person. Like now we are all towards a camera, whether we're taking something or giving something. And there's something connective there. If you allow yourself to strive towards excellence versus perfection, I think there's something there. There's a humanity there that's always been that. And you've always done that every single time. Every joke that you make is one that I've been there. I get it. Look what happened to my pants. I wore the wrong outfit at the first meeting of the whatever. And I learned from that, and it's all right. And so I find that being leaders in 2020 and going into 2021, do you see it being different than what it would have been before? Or do you see it just shining a light on those leadership qualities you always had, Sarah?
Mm. Um, I think by talking about the pivoting,
Yeah.
I think it's just my nature.
Mm.
I just kinda think it's who I am.
It's like a dig deep into who you are.
Yeah, and it's,
Hmm.
I'm a very and I don't know if it's gonna sound, like, conceited or whatever, but I'm a very creative person.
Mm,
I've never been afraid of sharing things with others because
mm,
I know I'm gonna think of something new tomorrow.
mm,
So coming up with new strategies in a weird way, this is kind of fun for me. Yeah, it's a roller coaster, but those ups are really up. And I
mm,
work a lot with my creative director, Sean, and he's just wonderful. And we just kind of ride the wave. And
mm.
it's, you know, like w- when we started our conference, there was no convention system. Do you know what I mean? Like people can license a program now where here's how
Yeah.
you put in here's your activity room and here's how we're going to record it and here's which camera here, it's all like it's a system. There
Yeah.
was in May, there was nothing. March and April. May, there was nothing. We had
Mm.
to build it. We're like, "Okay, how are we gonna do this? Blah, blah, blah." Well, how are these people gonna subscribe? And there was silence on the phone. "Oh my god, we're gonna make it a subscription service through Zoom, and
Mm.
we're gonna do plugins for this and this and this, and we're gonna take it from Tidio is gonna be our chat bot, and then we're gonna take in the subscription business from WooCommerce, and we're gonna," and it was like it was fun. Fun, fun, fun. Like
Yeah.
learning how to cook. I gotta tell you, it's fun. Pickleball, you give me any 75-year-old, I'll kick their ass, right? I'm just like, I'm rock it's just it's kind of fun. It's like, how do we figure this out? I like
Yeah.
puzzles, and I like figure these things out, and
Yeah.
our staff is very, and you've heard me talk about this. I've worked in different businesses where I
Mm.
feel like it's very you know,
Mm.
demagogish. It's like it's top down, and we're the way we run our business is very circular, very communicative, and bottom up, and top down, and sideways, and that doesn't work. That's a stupid idea, and
Mm.
I don't like you either, and you know, and then it's like
Yeah.
silence, and then boom, we come up with this thing, let's try it this way. And we know that if it doesn't work, we're going to try something later.
Mm.
So um I
So
think
I
it's
yeah.
like you're not waiting for that perfection. You know,
No. And
perfection
so
is the
it,
killer of productivity. That's
yes.
what we always say. Perfect.
Yes.
If we were waiting for perfection, we'd never get a brochure out. We'd never be able to do things. One of the biggest things I've seen change,
Yeah.
which creates a lot of fear for people, is that the sky's the limit now.
Mm.
We have global people coming in, either with taking classes, coming to a webinar, coming to a conference. There is no geographic limitation. We used to be able to run these events Atlanta, Dallas, Chicago, Boston, San Francisco. I mean, we were just DC, just going from city to city. Well, you can replicate your sessions from city to city,
Yes.
and the design element, you actually want some consistency in that branding and in that programming. But now it's just it's the world is your oyster, but it's
Mm.
terrifying.
It is. It
And
can be overwhelming.
right.
And I
Right.
think for everybody, whether it's trying to come up with, going from employee to entrepreneur and trying to come up with your brand and your classes and your pricing and your all of these things and what it's going to look like and your technology and how you're going to do it, or whether it's somebody like you recreating this global events and instructor and trainer support organization.
And this is happening to everyone. It's
Yeah.
happening to everyone because I am a numbers driven person. I
Mm.
like I know exactly how many people are attending, what sessions they're attending, what type of sessions, what presenters are the favorite, and it may vary from geographic to geographic area. There is no geographic limitations. I
Mm.
can't go back and look at my numbers in 17, 18, and 19 and
Yeah.
figure out where I am in that registration scheme
Yeah.
was, because there is nothing like this.
No.
That's the way, I mean, even and if I can encourage anybody,
Mm.
and like I like to have that plan. If I can say, all right, some people are sitting there going, I have nothing to do. And if I have to homeschool that child one more time, I'm going to strangle them. There is a reason that I teach you to reach your left arm and reach up with my right. Okay. Because I will slap you with my, I need you reading, you need to do your homework. That's not who we are.
Yeah.
We have to pivot, but setting yourself a schedule, like from 2 to 4, this is what I'm going to do. And then we're going to plan dinner and we're going to do this. And it's a science experiment. And we're going to learn like what salt does to meat. And we're going to,
Mm.
Google that and figure that out. But whether it's just planning your day, whether it's looking at your week, whether it's being able to see, what's going to happen next month and not getting too far into the future because then it's out of control. We don't know when there's going to be a vaccine, where it's going to come from, and how much we have to refrigerate it.
So or freeze it.
Yeah.
So if I pull this into
It's
Sarah's
real life.
no, no, but it's all right. But it's like I feel like it's like Sarah's tips for going from fear to fun include planning, include striving towards excellence, not worrying about perfection, include surrounding yourself with people who will share a lot of ideas and also tell you when you're being a bit silly, and also have that family environment that you can do that. And trying new things maybe from a personal standpoint, because those lessons then float into professionally going from fear to fun. Is that kind of
Yeah,
what it is?
and take care of others.
Mm,
I think the best way to take care of yourself is not to, lay down in an Epsom salt bath with a pillow around your neck.
sometimes,
I
but yeah.
I okay, whatever, but I find the most gratification and I feel the most good about myself when I'm
Mm,
helping somebody else.
mm,
Once a day, do something to help other people. Like
okay.
these free webinars that we're doing have pull me up like nothing else. And then all the presenters, we're sitting there on our phones and we're texting each other, We're sitting there and we're just like, going at it and just and getting to know these new people, which is really rewarding. Even if you're doing a little like you do these, Natalie, these are
Mhm,
amazing. And
mm,
people watch them and they feel like, God, I'm getting to know somebody, and
mm.
it's almost as good as Grey's Anatomy because you're getting to know different people. Yeah, and
It's
find
nice.
I've got a few friends like Connie Warasilla that, Ann Gilbert that, I just talk to. If it's not every day, it's every other day,
Mm.
and this, they're there for you and hanging with them.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you for helping us sink into 2021 with lots of fun. I mean, the fear is still there, but we know we have some tips to where to go to if it gets a little bit overwhelming. And thank you from someone who's been in this industry. Thank you for still. I mean, there's leaders that I think there's leaders that we've been counting on, that have strayed, and then there's leaders that we have counted on and knew why we've been counting on them all this time. And you're absolutely one of those, that keeps pulling the industry, to keep serving, because I mean, we're serving other people. We all do this because we want to help other people. We want to keep them healthy. And in the middle of a health crisis, that's a lot to put on a person. So thank you for everything that you're doing, was more than ever you've ever done before. And thanks for popping on. I look forward to the borders being reopened again, and that when we can actually see one another in person again, and when I can be back with that SCW family that I miss. But I miss you dearly, and I'm really grateful for everything that you've been doing. And for everybody out there, check out everything that SCW does, because you won't be disappointed. Absolutely not, with that family and those presenters and everybody that's brought in 2020 that wasn't even there before. So thinking of it as a what are those opportunities. So please, everyone, go check that out. And I appreciate your friendship and support, my friend.
Well, it's great, and plan on October in Chicago. That's what we're thinking will be our first event.
Will be the first one. Oh,
Yeah,
that
we were
sounds great.
hoping for August, but the Dallas Mania, but I'm a little too nervous about that.
Okay.
I'm not I'm not feeling the love on that one. But
I will
you know,
pencil it in.
we'll
It
get you into October. You gotta come over.
would be
Come
wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much, Sarah.
over. Take care, Natalie. Thank
Bye
you.
bye. Thank you.